Hello student, welcome back for the course of MBA Semester 4 International Marketing Environment. Today is our lecture number 19, 20 and 21, and the topic of our today's discussion is economic integration and its forms. So, the objective of our today's session is to understand the concept of economic integration and its forms, or these are called as different levels of economic integration. So the contents of our today's session are economic integration, levels of economic integration. The first type of integration is called as preferential trading agreement or preferential trading area. Another one is free trade area, means called as FTA or free trade agreement. The next higher level of economic integration is called as custom union, acronymed as CU. Another next one is common market, CM. This common market is also called as single market. And the most formal form of economic integration would be called as economic union, EU. Okay, mostly we will call it is as an European Union also, but European Union is a trade bloc. The last and more superior form of integration is called as political union, PU. Okay, and then this will be also called as complete economic integration. Now when we are talking about this particular topic, economic integration, why the idea would came to work for an integration of economy across the various countries. We are already familiar with most of the previous concepts in this international trade, where we do came to know about the different institutions, and whenever these various international countries are conducting the international trade in between them, they were having their own policies to conduct the international trade with the other countries, and they are making the use of tariff barriers and not non-tariff barriers to control the international trade in between the countries. And that's why various international institutions came forward and they tries to remove the difficulties, okay, by means of harmonizing the economy in between the countries. And that's why it is quite necessary to make some particular arrangement in such a way wherever these member countries comes together and formulate themselves some agreement either bilaterally or multilaterally in between them, and tries to integrate the economy, okay, so that they can channelize their international trade. Plus also they were included other various features in that, and they more try to promote the trade by means of using more liberal form of approaches, so that economic harmonization would takes place in between these countries. And that's why this economic integration came. So let us have the discussion on that economic integration. So economic integration, lastly, it is a form of arrangement in between the member countries, those who are involving in some type of agreements. So those who are the member countries, either they will also set up the group of countries that is called as trade blocs, okay, by means of removing some form of restrictions in the form of, suppose say, tariff restrictions, okay, or quantitative restrictions in the form of quota. So whenever these member countries comes together and formulate some agreement in between them, and by means of abolishing any sort of trade restrictions, okay, either by means of using the reducing the tariff or quotas or other quantitative restrictions, so they were made some particular setup to remove the barriers in that will hampering the growth of international trade. So they understand that difficulties and also tries to promote the international trade as well as promoting the citizen welfare activities within their nations, okay, and that's why the concept would be called as economic integration, and that economic integration would tries to harmonize the economy of these member countries so as to achieve their own individual objectives. So lastly, what is that economic integration? Economic integration nothing but some type of arrangement among the member countries so that they tries to remove the trade barriers like tariff barriers or non-tariff barriers in the form of quantitative restrictions, and tries to integrate the economies of various countries. While talking about these economic integration, okay, one of the very important aim behind that economic integration is to reduce the cost of both the consumer and the producer to increase the trade between the countries involved in the agreement. Lastly, who is going to benefit with the help of this economic integration? The citizen of the nation, and they were primarily the consumers. Okay, this will also helpful to the producers and manufacturers, that those who are involved in the process of that international trade, and it is quite necessary to remove the barriers among these member countries and try to promote the international trade, so that reduce the cost of exports as well as import in certain countries, okay, those who are the members of that different trade agreements. When we are trying to promote the economy, okay, here we need to think about the different aspects of managing the economy, okay. Many nations, those who are suffering from some economic disasters or their financial crisis, so they are not in a position to involve the activities of the international trade initially, but these countries also eventually comes forward, okay, by means of introducing the concept of this economic integration. So many neighboring countries, they want to start the international business with nearby countries, okay, they will in use the concept of that most favored nation, then GSP, okay, generalized preferential system, by means of reducing the tariff, okay, after the emergence of WTO and UNCTAD. They think in a way wherever they try to promote the economy of the country on the same principle that economic integration came, okay, and here we tries to promote the different countries or that geographic region where we try to reduce the tariff in between the member countries as well as non tariff barriers, so that we can make a free flow of goods and services and other factors of production. So it is one of the very important idea that should come forward, okay, from several countries, and they tries to overcome the difficulty with respect to that tariff and non-tariff barriers, for which most of the member countries, they were made some changes into their existing policies, say for example their foreign trade policies, fiscal policies and monetary policies, okay, and they try to manage their economies so as to promote the international trade. By means of that, more and more harmonization of economy could take place in between the member countries, whereas many of the factors of production, say for example land, labor, capital, okay, and goods even also, they tries to trade, okay, among the member countries. Integration between the countries exactly focusing on the arrangement between the nations so as to foster the spirit of cooperation by promoting the economic growth and stability among its members. By means of introducing the concept of this integration of economies, every country come forward, okay, with a spirit of cooperation so as to promote their own economies and try to maintain the stability within their own countries, and that will be helpful to many of the countries so that they can manage their economies and tries to overcome the problem of financial crisis even also. Okay, they were also tries to maintain their foreign exchange reserves and try to overcome the problems of balance of payments. So in this way that many of the countries could be benefited with the help of this economic integration. Now, these are called as the various levels or forms of economic integrations. So, we were listed here six concepts with respect to different forms of economic integration. You are already familiar with the most favored nation and GSP, Generalized System of Preferences tariff system. That tariff system is just similar to your preferential trading agreement. It was the most basic agreement which was formulated among the member countries. Okay, this is called as what? PTA, Preferential Trading Agreement. So that preferential trading agreement which was formulated either bilaterally or multilaterally, mainly bilateral agreement would be there in between two nations only. So this will be the most loose form of economic integration. Whenever the two neighboring countries thinks about they want to conduct the international trade, okay, across their countries, so they are involving in some form of agreement, and that agreement is called as PTA. Now what the PTA will tries to do? Okay, in case of PTA, we tries to reduce the tariff or by means of using some special quotas and allowing some preferential access to the market so that they can trade, they can conduct the international trade with respect to whatever form of goods and other services, okay, as per the preferences that they will decide according to their policies, economic policies. Then the another form of integration would be called as free trade area. Here we are talking about, okay, complete removal of tariff and non-tariff barriers. Okay, so this will be the most formal form of economic integration so as to promote the free trade. So formal tariff free trading areas in between the countries, okay, that will be called as free trade area, or the agreement will be called as free trade agreement. Now the other higher levels of economic integration will possess the properties of the earlier one. Remember, now we are talking about custom union. Custom union is nothing but the free trade area plus common external tariff. Okay, means what? This will possess the properties of free trade area plus there will be some common external tariff policies, okay, under custom union. Okay, so this is the more advanced form of economic integration as compared to free trade area. The another more advanced form of economic integration would be called as common market. This is called as the common market. Okay, now common market will possess the properties of the custom union plus free movement of goods, services, people and capital. Here we are talking about, okay, in case of custom union, okay, free trade area plus common external tariff. Okay, in case of common market, custom union plus free movement of land, labor, capital, okay, excluding land only, okay, goods, services, people, people means labor and capital. Going further, okay, we will have a more sophisticated or more advanced, okay, form of economic integration, and that is called as economic union. Okay, now in case of economic union, okay, that will possess the properties of common market, okay, plus we were directed towards full economic policy harmonization. Here we try to overcome almost all types of barriers, okay, that will hamper the growth of international trade, okay, in between the member countries, and that will be called as the most formal form of economic integration. Now going further, mainly these five forms of economic integrations are in practice, okay, but there will be some other forms of economic integration that depends on the sovereignty of the nations. Now every country would be declare themselves as a sovereign nation, that they do have their own powers to think and tries to implement their own economic policies. So whenever a single nation or a group of nations try to come together and formulate some mutual policy, okay, in regard to harmonize the economy across the region, across the many nations, okay, that time, okay, that economic integration will be called as political union. Okay, now in more general, okay, here we will be talking about political integration, and that political integration is nothing but a group of nations with shared sovereignty and complete unification of the nation. If you remember, okay, in early days there was a Soviet Union was there. This was the region of that Soviet Union. Okay, early prior to that it was an USSR. Okay, and then the Soviet Union has been split up, and many of the countries were split up from USSR, and as well as from the Soviet Union. Okay, even India will be also the example of that political union. Okay, that we will see whenever that we will discuss that political union. So these are the various forms of economic integration. Even that economic integration can be also happens in different trade blocks. So these are also called as the trade blocks. Whenever we will discuss that specific trade blocks, okay, that time we will discuss. Now this is called as the first form of economic integration. This is called as a preferential trading agreement. Preferential trading agreement, or PTA. Okay. Now what does that PTA tries to do? PTA tries to reduce the tariff or special quotas, allowing some preferential access to the market. Okay. Now the two or more nations, okay, they will come together and try to integrate their economies by means of formulating the agreement. Okay, mainly two countries, two nearby nations, they try to comes together and formulate the agreement. That agreement would be called as preferential trade agreement. Under this agreement, okay, they will mutually decide themselves, okay, how to integrate the economies of these countries so as to promote the trade. So trade can be promoted by means of using the tariff, okay, and some special quotas, okay, under some preferential access, okay, so that they can make some international trade with respect to goods and other services as per their individual requirements. So this agreement generally could takes place in between the nearby nations, as well as, okay, the nations which are belonging to developing nations and developed nations. So they tries to conduct the international trade, okay, particularly for economic development, so as to promote the economic growth and development. Okay, these member countries comes together and formulate the bilateral trade agreement in between, okay, them, by means of using some preferential access to exchange the goods and services in between them. That type of arrangement will be called as PTA, means preferential trading agreement, PTA. It is also called as the most loose form of economic integration. Why it is called as the most loosest form of economic integration? Because it is the start, okay, because it is not a very means sophisticated form of agreement, okay, but it is a formal agreement in between the two or more nations on some preferential basis. So they will decide that what particular goods and services that they want to trade and how much tariff that they will set on exchange of goods and services. So that will be called as a preferential trade agreement. If you remember that we already discussed about the most favored nations as well as our preferential access system, wherever we tries to reduce the tariff. So here also in case of PTA member countries, those who are involved in this trade agreement, they tries to reduce the tariff and using some quotas, okay, and decide some preferential access. Say for example, the trade agreement in between India and Sri Lanka would be a preferential trade agreement, because two neighboring nations, whenever they are conducting the international trade on preferential basis so as to promote the international trade in between them, okay, that will be even India and US will be the preferential trade agreement. Indo-Japan preferential trade agreement would be there. So there are several types of preferential trade agreement took place. Now when we are talking about this preferential trade agreement, okay, let us have one example over. These are called as the loan agreement, okay, this is called as loan agreement. Loan agreement was took places in certain countries, okay, African countries, Caribbean countries and Pacific countries, okay. So here some countries are over here, okay. These are called African countries, European countries, and these countries are their Pacific countries. So trade which can be conducted on preferential basis so as to exchange the goods or services by means of reducing term tariff and quotas, that type of agreement will be called as preferential trading agreement. The another form of agreement is called as FTA. Okay, FTA means free trade area or free trade agreement. Now, in this is the most formal form of trade agreement in between the member countries. So here the main idea would be that the member countries, those who come forward and formulate the agreement, by means of complete removal of different types of trade barriers, okay, means tariff barriers as well as non tariff barriers. So there will be no barriers, okay, without any tariff duties and taxes, as well as non tariff barriers without any restrictions. Whenever the trade has been conducted in between two or more nations, that time we will call it is a free trade area. So there will be a free exchange of goods and services, okay, that could take place in between the member countries. That time we are saying it is a free trade area, okay. So in case of that free trade area or free trade agreement, okay, member countries are free to levy their own external tariff on goods from outside the free trade area. There are some countries that they would come forward themselves and set up the free trade area. Member countries, those who are conducting the international trade in the free trade area, okay, there will be no any kind of tariff or restrictions over the free trade area, wherever that they want to sell their or exchange goods or services over there. But any other outside member, those who are conducting the international trade with the free trade area, okay, they need to pay some taxes or duties, okay, that is called as a free trade agreement or free trade area. So member countries, those who are the members of that FTA, okay, free trade area, they don't have to pay any taxes or duties. Other external members, they have to pay some taxes or duties or tariff, whatever may be mentioned under the free trade agreement policies. Now, there are various examples with respect to that free trade area. Let us have a look over here. Okay. Now we have North American Free Trade Agreement, that is called as NAFTA. Now which has been located here, NAFTA has been there. Okay. And some other countries between USA, Canada, Mexico, okay, that has been declared as a free trade area. So there will be a free exchange of goods and services over there. Some countries, those are belonging to European region, that is called as European Free Trade Association, IFTA. So IFTA has been located here. And ASEAN countries, okay, some countries those who are belonging to ASEAN Free Trade Area, AFTA, okay. India is not the member of the ASEAN, okay. So these are called as a free trade area. Wherever there is no any kind of trade barriers would be there, there will be a free exchange of goods and services. So here there will be a complete abolition of trade barriers, okay. Whoever are the non-member countries, okay, they have to pay some taxes, duties, tariff, or whatever restrictions that they are having, they need to pay, okay, that form of taxes over in the free trade area. Only member countries, they can conduct the free trade, okay, and that will be called as the most formal form of economic integration. Here each member countries, they were having a complete autonomy so as to conduct the free trade, okay, among the member countries. And that's why that free trade, most of the nations, that they are looking to conduct the international trade among this free trade area. So by means of introducing the concept of that free trade area, okay, their economies can be harmonized, and we tries to remove the barriers, those who can make an hurdles in the promotion of the international trade. So this will be a most formal form of economic integrations, and we can channelize the international trade in between the countries. The another kind of levels of economic integration is called as custom union. Custom union will possess the properties of free trade area plus common external tariff policy. Okay, common external tariff policy. This is also a free trade area. Remember, okay, that custom union will also be the free trade area, but they would be also implemented one policy for particularly for the non-members, okay, particularly for the non-members. So they were having some particular policy, okay, and that policy would be called as common external tariff policies, particularly for non-member countries. So non-member countries, those who are conducting the international trade with the custom union, okay, they can make the exchange of goods and services, but they should have to pay some common tariff, okay, which should be applicable to non-member countries. All member countries, okay, of that custom union, they can conduct the free trade under that custom union form of economic integration. Again, it is called as a most advanced, okay, or more advanced form of economic integration as compared to free trade area. So whatever form of member countries, okay, that do comes together, they formulate the free trade area plus also some common external tariff policy. So member countries, okay, they can conduct the free trade among themselves, okay. Non-member countries, they should have to follow that common external tariff policy, and they need to pay the tariff according to whatever form of conditions has been specified under this common external tariff policies. This means that member may negotiate a single block with third parties such as with other trading blocks or with the WTO. Now, whoever the member countries, okay, they can conduct the free trade among themselves, but any other non-members, okay, if they are conducting any international trade with any other trade blocks, okay, or any other provisions which has been made under the WTO, okay, they need to have some common external policies, okay. Those who are the members of the WTO, suppose they are conducting some international trade with custom union, so and those who are not the member of that custom union, they have to use they have to pay some common external tariff to conduct the international trade with the member countries, those who are belonging to custom union. So this is again a very more advanced form of FTA, okay. If you remember that that custom union was defined by that GATT, okay. GATT was merely a form of that custom union whenever that member countries comes together and formulated a group of country, okay, and declare themselves as a GATT. GATT was an ad hoc agreement, okay. It was the trade block, okay, but it was an ad hoc trade block over there. These member countries, okay, they were having some common external tariff policies so as to conduct the international trade with some other countries. Those who are not the member of GATT, okay, they have to pay some common external tariff. So GATT was an example of that custom union. There are some another examples as we will discuss some examples with respect to that different economic integration. The more subtle form of economic integration using that custom union, okay, is European Union. So in case of European Union itself a free trade area as well as a custom union, they were having some common external tariff policy particularly for non-members, and there is a single currency that they are following under their uh, grouping of countries, okay. This is called as what, European Union over here, and they were implemented their single currency over here, okay, and as compared to US also. Even another kind of trade block that is called as Mercosur, okay, in South America, okay. This is the South America. The shaded region mostly belongs to that Mercosur, okay. And even that Mercosur is the custom union, and they were having some common trade policies for the non-members. So whoever are the non-members, okay, of that custom union, they were having some common external trade policies, okay. Member countries, they can conduct the free trade of exchange of goods and services under the custom unions. The another more advanced form of economic integration is called as common market, okay. Now this common market is called as a single market. It is the large grouping of countries, okay, that is called as a very large group of countries, okay, and then it is called as a common market or single market. Now most of the countries, they want to reflect themselves to the outside world, okay, by means of formulating and harmonizing their economic policies, so they can conduct the trade across varieties of goods, commodities and other services. So this will possess the properties of custom union plus free movement of goods, services, people and capital, okay. Prior to that, we were talking about goods and services. We were talking about exchange of goods and services up to custom union. The another important factor, okay, that is called as people, means labor. Now labor can be traded from one place to another place, okay. Say for example, um, in case of manufacturing, okay, India can be uh, supplying a very good quality of highly skilled as well as semi skilled labor to many of the countries. Even exchange of capital, okay, for particularly for foreign direct investment and payment, international payment, okay, that can be included over here. So again, this is the very more advanced form of economic integration where in case of common market, okay, we are possessing, this will possess the properties of custom union. Custom union means common market plus common external tariff policies plus free movement of goods, services, people and capital. This can be also included. So member countries, those who are belonging to common market, they can conduct the free trade. Okay. Non-member countries, they are following some common external tariff policies and they can also conduct the trade with respect to whatever forms of goods or commodities, services, labor and capital. So here we are trying to reduce almost all types of barriers. Okay, we tries to eliminate most of the types of trade barriers. Okay, and by means of promoting the economy, okay, of that respective country, so as to conduct the trade with respect to all types of goods, commodities, services, people and capital. If you remember that custom union, okay, wherever custom union has been called as free trade area plus common external tariff policy, custom union with free flow of factors of production between the countries is called as common market. Common market will possess the properties of custom union, okay, and all other factors of production, then we will be free flow of factors of production, okay, so there will be no any tariff and duties that can be applied to exchange of goods, services, people and capital. Now this is the more advanced form of economic integration where most of the countries comes together and they tries to remove almost all types of barriers that creates an hurdle in the process of economic development of the country, and by means of removing the restrictions on immigration, immigration and cross border investment that has been completely abolished under the common market. So here many of the member countries that they were remove the restrictions, okay, say particularly with respect to the work permits in their own countries, okay, and they will promote that immigration and immigration services. So many of the countries would come forward to invite the people as well as investment in their countries. So here more and more for good form of liberalization processes has been initiated in most of the countries. We were going towards the liberalization of the economies by means of removing the difficulties in promoting the economy of the individual economies of the country. When we are talking about this common market, okay, this will be called as a more exclusive or a very advanced form of economic integration, and we will see that form of economic integration in certain trade blocks. So whatever form of goods, services, capital and labor, okay, all types of barriers can be removed, okay, and they can be exchanged freely, okay, across the member countries. Also whatever form of tariff and other duties, even non-tariff barriers that are being completely tries to reduce, okay, or where we tries to eliminate it. In certain cases, suppose there is a tariff, okay, that tariff level has been targeted to reduce it to the very negligible percentage, okay, recently it has been reduced to 5%, okay, whatever was there in 1940s or 50s, that time the tariff level was nearly 30% or 25%. This is called as the first step, first significant step towards the full economic integration. Here we try to remove the difficulty across the world, across the regions, across the many of the trading blocks. So whatever form of tangible and non-tangible goods also, okay, we can conduct the free trade with respect to that particular goods, services, capital and labor, okay, freely. In this regard, that common market would work. Then some examples with respect to that common market. We were already talked about that European Union is also an example of common market, okay, wherever they were also implemented their common currencies, wherever we can also conduct the free trade with respect to goods, services, capital and labor also. This is the European Union. Then Mercosur would be here, okay. Then East African common market would be there, some African countries, okay, this region would be there. West African, these countries would be, okay, will be the example of that common market. So this will be the most successful form of economic integration, wherever we tries to remove the difficulty uh, with respect to the international trade, and tries to promote the harmonization of the economic policies, particularly both micro and macroeconomic policies of the various countries. And we tries to remove the difficulties with respect to the monopoly power, okay. Countries those who are advanced nation or more developed nations, okay, they were having or imposing some restrictions from time to time, okay. Even anti-competitive practices, or those who are into those who are conducting the trade with respect to anti-dumping, sorry, with respect to dumping, okay. Some anti-dumping measures were also implemented by WTO also. So these common markets will have almost all types of features so as to conduct the free trade in between the member countries. Non-member countries, okay, they have some another policy, and they should have to use that common external trade policy, and they have to follow. Along with that common market, they were also introduced the policies for common agricultural policy, common fisheries policy and European single market policy, okay. There are some various features in this common market, okay. It is a quite very big form of economic integrations. The next form of economic integration is called as economic union, okay. That economic union will possess the properties of common market plus full economic policy harmonization. Full policy economic harmonization. Whatever properties of common market, whether it is where it is already a free trade area, okay, they will possess the properties of earlier economic integration plus full economic integration. Now in case of full economic integration, we are focusing on complete economic integration, okay. We are going further and further, so that we want to harmonize the economies of most of the nations, and we will have uh, the most sophisticated form of business activity across many of the marketplaces, even many of the trade blocks. So some unified form of system, say for example, prior to that we will discuss about uh, during IMF, that we will discuss about IMF has introduced the common exchange rates system, okay, that is called as floating exchange rate system. So that can be unified and gives the importance to the individual currencies of the various nations. Simultaneously we tries to promote the idea of free trade, okay, by means of introducing some common tax system across many of the countries, and try to employ similar form of currency, okay, and that could match with some international standards. So we came to know that there will be an integration of economies in between the countries could take places, okay. So more larger economic union could came, okay. So in this regard that we are working, and most of the economic union, okay, are belonging to some particular grouping of countries. So larger form of economic unions would be happen in certain parts of the world, okay, that we will discuss on the next slide. While talking about this economic union, okay, that economic union will possess the properties of that common market plus full economic integration. When we are talking about full economic integration, here we tries to coordinate their economic policies, including monetary policies, fiscal policy, taxation policies, as well as social welfare programs, so as to blend their economies into a single entity. Say for example, India is a sovereign nation, okay. We were having our own economic policies, monetary policies, fiscal policies, even taxation policies, and social welfare policies over here. Similarly, other member countries or grouping of countries, okay, that would come together and they can form the group of countries or regional trade blocks, okay. That form of economic integration, they tries to harmonize the economy by means of channelizing the resources almost from all the countries, by means of abolishing the restrictions on all types of trade barriers, okay, and removing the difficulty that will hamper the growth of uh, international trade. So whatever factors of production, so complete free mobility of factors of production can be introduced, okay, with the help of this idea that is called as economic union. A very good form of economic integration with this economic union would be that is called as Belgium Luxembourg Economic Union. Okay, this trade has been happened in the European Union. Belgium Luxembourg Economic Union. Various states in the United States. Okay, there are some individual states or countries, okay, they were involved in this multilateral or bilateral trade agreement, okay, by means of using that European Union. Economic and monetary union of European Union with single European currency euro. So they were also set up the complete European Union by means of various member countries and one currency that they were introduced, that is called as euro, which can be applicable in all the countries. They should have to conduct the trade in euro only. So when we are talking about that economic union, okay, economic union requires nations to surrender a large measure of their national sovereignty. When we are talking about almost all countries, those who can declare themselves as a republic countries, okay, they were having their own sovereignty rights, okay, so nothing could be there that we can guide, okay, to individual countries. They were use their own powers because they were having their own federal structure and they can decide whatever form of policies, say for example economic policies or monetary policies, they want to implement within their own countries. So these are the very independent states and they will decide themselves many of the things, okay, so that they can promote their economies or whatever form of difficulties that they face, they try to overcome all types of difficulties, and that's why, okay, it is called as what, European Union. Or even in many of the cases we called it is a monetary union because they were introduced their own currencies, okay. That is all about European Union. The most common form of integration would be called as political union, okay. Once we came to know that many of the countries that they are the republic countries and they were set up their own currencies, okay, so they come forward so as to integrate their economy by means of using a political integration. Now this is called as a political integration, okay, and the grouping of countries, okay, or even the individual country would be itself called as political union. That political union drive towards complete economic integration. So here the group of nations with shared sovereignty, okay, among the nearby nations with complete unification of the nation, say for example India and Nepal, okay. There are some similar form of economic activities goes, okay. Even in Nepal also we are implementing the rupee system over there. Even some other nearby countries, say for example Pakistan also, Pakistan rupiah would be implemented. So there will be some degree of political integration often accomplish the economic integration. Political union implies more formal political links in between the countries. Here the member countries, those who comes together so that they wants to involve in the activities of promotion of international trade, and they tries to remove the barriers, okay, that would makes an hurdle into the international trade, okay, by politically harmonization of economic policies in nearby countries. There will be some sort of political intervention would be there, okay. So that we are trying to bring some sort of unification in their socio political economic policies, okay, by means of introducing the multi level governance, okay, multi level governance, because each and every country would be mostly the sovereign nations, and they would have their own rights, duties, responsibilities has been fixed, and they can decide themselves what exactly they want to do for the protection of their own economies and as well as for the promotion of international trade. So that's why we will call it is a complete economic integration, okay, and that would be the final stage of economic integration. So whenever individual country or group of countries comes together, okay, with an idea so as to remove almost all types of economic barriers, or there will be a no or negligible control of economic policies, including full monetary union, complete or near complete fiscal policy harmonization. That time we are saying about that complete economic integration. So in this complete economic integration, we need to channelize almost all types of resources and conduct the trade in between that particular nation. Here, individual countries they tries to implement some type of non-tariff barriers, particularly to protect their individual economies. Okay, that should be the right. Okay, which has been declared under the WTO. Now when we are talking about that complete economic integration, that complete economic integration even was happen in India also, whenever after the unification of kingdoms, okay, so many of the political leaders, okay, say for example Pandit Nehru and that Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, they tries to merge the various independent states into complete formation of the complete India. So India itself will be called as a political union. Even similarly that Soviet Union will be this part, okay. And this is called as USSR. Even United States of America, and then USSR will cover the Soviet Union part as well as the Russian countries, some Russian countries, even nearby countries, those who are belonging to that Soviet region, okay, that will be the part of USSR. Now most of the countries, those who are belonging to that USSR, okay, because USSR has been split up, even Soviet Union has been get separated from the USSR. So we will find out that there will be some very limited form of political union, okay. As we will discuss, there are only 4 types of political union that can be exist in the world, and this is the most common form of political union. By means of that, here we tries to bring the harmony in the economic policies of the nation so as to promote the international trade as well as to channelize the resources across many of the countries. So that's all for our today's session. Thank you very much.